Good evening and welcome to StonesCast number 70. I think we're going to title this one, Shit, We Are in a Relegation Battle. Big couple of weekends, or big couple of games, should I say, as we invited Matt Taylor back to the Vale with his Solihull side. We drew out a 1-1 draw and then a rather disastrous 1-0 defeat at home to Tamworth last night. Leaves the Stones in a real pickle. We've got plenty to discuss tonight. I'll introduce the panel shortly. We'll focus on those two games. We'll look at Neil Gibson's first couple of games and how he's got on. We'll have a try and solve where we're going to get our points from, and then we'll preview the Gateshead game. We'll be joined by a Gateshead fan as we look ahead to the third home game in a week, as say Gateshead visit this weekend. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce the panel who are joining me tonight, and that is Mr. Chris Cohn.
Evening.
Evening, Chris.
Evening.
We have the voice, Mr. Alex Kilroy.
Good evening.
How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you.
Making his StonesCast debut, we have Tomas Matthews. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you.
Good stuff.
Evening.
Now, as of course is tradition on the StonesCast, newbies, as we like to call you, you have to give a bit of an intro and tell us a little bit about you and your Wealdstone history.
So I'm a boyhood Newcastle fan. I've supported them since I was young, and obviously it's not too close to. I'm in Harrow, but it's not too close to Harrow. And as I've got older, I've gradually sort of lost interest in watching football on the telly and just really wanted to actually go to matches and support a team, you know, be part of a fan base more than, you know, an armchair fan. And so a few years ago, I went around several different local teams, and there's just, I don't know, something about Wealdstone. And I went to, I've caught the Wealdstone bug, I guess you could say. And I started going to all the home games around when I was back from uni. And after uni, I've been going home and away.
Fair play. So when was your sort of first Stones experience? What season did you start getting involved?
It was at the end of the 18-19 season, I think.
Okay, a good time to catch the bug.
Yeah. We the first game I saw was Wealdstone getting beat 3-1 off Dulwich. So it wasn't the greatest match or anything, but I don't know.
But you kept coming
something
back.
About the club, yeah.
Good stuff. And despite being a Newcastle fan, I don't detect a Geordie accent.
No,
I'm assuming you're not from that part of it. Fair.
Yeah, my dad's from up there.
Fair play. And what is it that keeps you coming back to Wealdstone, Tomas?
I don't know. I really like the fans. I think, you know, it's really good. And I mean, at first I was sort of, you know, iffy about the, you know, standard of football, and I was like, you know, but it's actually like a lot better than you expect, and I just really enjoy coming, and it's, you know, just down the road, so it's really easy, and I really enjoy it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, delighted to have you on, Tomas. Thank you for joining us tonight. Let's reflect back on the last sort of 4 or 5 days and Neil Gibson's first 2 games in charge. Chris, maybe I'll start with you. Maybe first of all, actually, rather than the game, but Matt Taylor's return. Did you give him a clap, or did you drop a few boos his way?
No, I think I abstained quietly. I think from where I was standing, I think he got away lightly. Although I did nip off straight away after the game, so I wasn't there at the end. But yeah, I think he got away lightly. But looking at the photos, it seems like there was a lot of harmony between Taylor and the Wealdstone bench and chairman. So, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, he had an opportunity to go. You know, he hasn't set the Stones on fire this season, and they've paid up. They're giving us enough money to replace him, so it hasn't cost us anything. So, you know, good luck to him.
And as for the game, what was your immediate thought of the 1-1 draw?
Again, it's just, I thought, I mean, Alex Reid took his first first goal really well. And the ball from Eastman was amazing, really. When you look at it on the highlight, well, it wasn't on the highlights, so I don't think you can see that. But when you watch the game back, and I thought maybe he rushed his second chance that he had. We had the second one-on-one with the keeper. And I think if he'd done the same as he did at Gosport, where he took it round the keeper, I think he would have been home and dry, and we'd have been home and dry. So, I thought it was, I thought we did well, considering. I think Solihull started the best. I mean, probably the first 4 minutes or so, it was all Solihull, and then all of a sudden we get a break and we get a goal, which I think at that time was against the run of play. But I think we had plenty of chances to win the game. It seems to be a bit of a bogey team for us.
They are. We've got a dreadful record against them. I think I was on the comms Saturday and I said we've played them, I think, every season we've been in the National League, and we've only beaten them once in what I think is now 10 appearances, and that was that end of season dead rubber a couple of years ago. So yeah, they are a real bogey side. Alex, let me come to you, because the game kind of mirrored not just the scoreline but the Hartlepool game a couple of weeks before, where it felt like probably 2 points dropped. Would you share that opinion?
I would. I felt it. I think it's just a story of our season now. It's starting to become quite frustrating for me and my mates who go. Is this idea that it's like we're valiant losers. Like, we try really hard, we huff and we puff, we can't quite blow the house down, and that's reflective in the Hartlepool score, which should have been 3-4-1 up in the 90th, and again at Solihull by half time it should have been 3-0 up. Really 3-0 up. It's just a shame, and I mean, even the Solihull game as itself, the goal we conceded was so poor. It was just soft. And again, we keep conceding soft goals, and it's either individual mistakes or it's just things that are just basic. Like the goal we conceded on Saturday. I just couldn't put it into words how frustrating it was, because it wasn't the first time a goal like that has been conceded, and I think it's just, how long will we continue up this? These soft goals we're conceding, and then we can't score many. I mean, that's a recipe for relegation.
I wasn't even sure that the free kick that they scored from was a free kick. I think we'll probably come on to it later, but I think the two referee performances over the last two games have been, I'm probably being biased here, but I think they've been against us.
I would agree 100%. The referee performances have been subpar, but at the same time, we can't just blame the refs. It would be naive of us just to blame the referees. Our performances haven't been good enough. I mean, I've now had time to reflect on the game yesterday, and though Max's bookings were soft, he shouldn't have gone in for that second, and so it comes down again to individual errors and the basis of and maybe just the basics. Like, how many goals have we conceded? Hartlepool away. That was the most simple goal to defend, and we concede late. Ebbsfleet, late goal. We can't.
2 late goals.
Defend. It's just. It seems like it's a constant, and I don't know how we think we can stay up given our current form and given the fact we are conceding late all the time, and it isn't a one-off thing. It's now regular, and I'm a bit lost, really. Sorry, Ryan.
No, it's a good shout, and actually, it's something I mentioned on the comms while the game was going on. I thought Solihull were quite a limited side that played very one-dimensionally, but clearly they were dangerous from set pieces. And in the first half, we must have conceded 7 or 8 corners and 4 or 5 free kicks in and around the penalty box, and it felt to me like you were inviting the pressure. It was just a matter of time. I think before they probably, managed to convert one. Tomas, I don't know, what was your reflection on that goal? Because it wasn't great to watch back, and if I can get the tech to work, we should be able to. Let's see if I can do this. Actually, watch the highlight here. So this is hopefully this has worked and it's popped up on screen. So this was the goal, deep free kick from Jamie Osborne, and. Are you looking at your keeper to come and claim? Should Jack Cook have dealt with it better? Thomas, what was your view?
I mean, my first thought, like, as soon as I saw it go in, is keeper, you got to be coming for that. At least, close the angle at the very least if you're not going to come and claim it outright. But like how he's getting a free header from a long floated ball in, I couldn't believe it. It's just before half time as well. It was just so frustrating because they had nothing really in that half other than that. It's just worst time to concede.
Did we do enough? Obviously, Alex Reid missed the chance in the first half, and we had some good chances in that first half. We'll probably come to those just as these highlights go through. But did we do enough in that second half to have warranted 3 points?
The second half, I wouldn't say so. It felt like two just poor teams doing not very much, just kind of cancelled each other out. Wasn't too much quality, but first half they should have been dead and buried. Like, we should have scored 3 or 4.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think this is the half chance that Alex Reid had. He would sit around the post. But it was, I mean, obviously, but they hit the bar as well with the, is it a free kick or a long range effort? Wasteful chance from Max here. But yeah, it certainly, perhaps not as clear cut as Solihull, but it certainly felt like, let me stop sharing that. It certainly felt like a game that if there was going to be a winner, it was going to be us. And I kind of walked away going, it's another game that we're going to rue missed chances, clear cut missed chances. But it was a point that took us out of the bottom 4 with Bold. Results went our way generally last Saturday. And then we came to last night. And the visit to Tamworth. A side who have obviously had a great season in the Cup. They've drawn a lot of plaudits. But it was certainly a game and a team that we're coming up against that I felt if we're going to stay up, it's an obvious 3 points that we should have been targeting against what are a good but limited side. I mean, where do we even start, Alex? I know I watched the game with you a lot yesterday. Give us your initial assessment of yesterday's debacle.
The initial, when I was walking out, I was raging. I mean, I was more raging at the refereeing performances. We did create enough chances to win that game, and maybe we are being harsh on the players here. But because of the context of the season, it seems like a repeat of what it's been for the last, 8 months. But I do feel that, I mean, it could have been one of those games. We created so many chances and we just couldn't put them away. And as soon as Matt's got sent off, the game just changed. And I don't think we could have been there till, next week and we still wouldn't have scored. I was listening back to Gibson's interview, and it is a breath of fresh air than just the standard media-trained superlatives that Matt Taylor was throwing out every week or so. He was very honest, I felt, in his assessment of the game. I also felt he was very open tactically to explain what he was doing and why, but that was a breath of fresh air as well. It's clear he knows what he's talking about. So my initial thoughts was anger, really, more so at the refereeing performances, but now I've had time to sleep and dwell on it. I felt, it was our poor choices. One player has made a poor choice, and that's cost the team 3 points. I feel like if Max would have stayed on, we might have made a sub. He wasn't even playing very well in the first place. We might have nicked it 1-0, or taken the draw.
Do you, Chris, maybe coming to you here, do you share, because I'll be honest, not sure I do, that we created a lot of chances last night?
I think second half I wandered up to the gun turret end just to have a closer look, and I think we certainly early in the second half, I'm sure the ball went across their goal line, not across the goal, but across the goal line unopposed twice, where if somebody had been there, they could have literally toe poked it in and we'd have been, 1 up. And I think that Sam Ashford had a good chance that he put over the top. But I mean, I don't really criticise the players, but they're professional players. But I don't think Sam Ashford had a good game yesterday. I think Max was busy, but I think he's one of the senior members of the team and he should be more responsible. I think he was. I'm not. I can't believe he was booked for the dive for the penalty. I can't believe a ref is 100% sure that he wasn't touched. But certainly shouldn't have gone in for the keeper. Although from my angle, I think the ball was there to be played. But hey ho.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure about some of the selections as well last night. I mean, I know that new managers trying to check out what's his best team and everything else. But got Baldwin. I think been playing quite strongly over the last 3 games, running at people. But he seems to be back playing in defence. And
was that as a result of their winger? Because I thought their left side was very strong last night. So was that more of a case of Enzio being forced to play more deeper, or
maybe? But then he got booked. Yeah, quite possibly. But why wasn't McAvoy picked? And why didn't we give Eastman a run out at some point as well? But I think certainly beginning of the second half we had chances to go ahead. But I mean the ball over the top for their goal was a lovely ball that got behind our defence. But
yeah, I think this is the Max red now. Thomas, what was your assessment last night of the red card?
I think it's incredibly soft, but at the same time, Max has to know that he can't be diving in like that on a yellow. Like, yeah, it's there to be won, but why give the referee a chance to make a decision when he's, been going against us the whole match? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. He's a senior player. He has to be better than that, I think.
Yeah. I think looking back on it, it's incredibly frustrating actually that the highlights don't show the penalty and the first yellow card or the penalty shout. This is Tamworth's goal. Actually, a lovely ball from their 8 here, think through. But my issue, if I'm honest, with Max is, I'll be completely honest about this, he has previous for it. I think he too often goes down too easily looking for a penalty in the box. Now, we can say Max is a good master of the dark arts of the game, and he brings a lot to us with that leadership. But it's not the first time, and I think he's earned himself a bit of a reputation amongst referees for that. And so there's an element of actually don't have much sympathy for him with that first yellow. I didn't think it was a nailed-on penalty. I thought it was maybe harsh to get booked. I don't think it was simulation, but I think he's bought that himself a little bit from the history of it. I then thought, from where we were looking at the challenge, that he was stupid to have gone in the way he did, and I thought he made it easy for the ref. That said, having seen it back on the highlights there, I actually think he was quite unlucky with that second one because he hasn't gone in studs up. He's slid on the ground from it's just to come in together. So
I think the ball was loose as well when he went in.
Yeah.
Sorry, cutting, but I think when he went in, I think the ball was there to be won. The keeper hadn't gathered it at that point, but hey.
But surely he knows. Surely he knows the refs more than any of us. And if we can see that the National League standard for refereeing is an absolute disgrace, then surely he must understand that if he gives the ref a choice to make, the ref 9 times out of 10 will take it. Because what I am finding is, whether it be against us or for us, the referees at this level and even up the EFL, they want to make these choices. I don't know what it is, but surely the ref should just take a step back and rethink what's just happened in front of him, rather than making this rash judgment. Surely Max should understand that and know that if he goes in and he does not win the ball, he's off. So yes, it is unfair, but if that was a Tamworth player on our keeper, we would be going absolutely mental, demanding a sending off, and then we would say that the ref is wronging us if he doesn't send. Let's say Max was playing for Tamworth, if he didn't send Max off.
Well, we're lucky it wasn't a straight red. I think with the way that he went in. I mean, I'm not saying it was that reckless, but the ref could have viewed it as reckless. He booked him anyway. But I just think, yeah.
Keeper
I mean,
made
what's
that
frustrating
move.
is if you look at the photos that Wayne Raffle put up, the way that Jack Cook was manhandled towards the end of the game in the penalty area. I think, well, why isn't that a penalty? I mean, the linesman's right there in front of it, and he was just rugby tackled to the ground.
That lino got some pelters in front of us. He was particularly poor.
Yeah.
But the referee hasn't. I'm not saying lost us that game. I just thought the first half, and look, we can talk about as well. The fact of 2 games in 4 days. So did Tamworth, though they played Barnet Saturday. The pitch ain't great. There's potentially a lot of mitigating factors, but for me, I expected us to be on the front foot of that game, and I didn't think we were at all in that first half. We were far too passive. We were real. I say scared to commit. We seem to take a very easy option of always playing sideways. I'd love to see some of our players be brave. I thought Josh Grant looked rather lost yesterday. I thought whilst Harrison Sona did a fairly good job kind of as that pivot and the kind of knocking the ball around, I think that Josh Grant seemed to, he needed to get forwards to get support Max. And I felt he was a bit lost. And there just wasn't a cohesion to our play. Anthony Georgiou's another one who seems to have regressed a little bit in the last few games. And I know it's harsh to pick on, individual players, but from someone who played with such fluency when we were in form, I thought he really struggled to make an impact on the game, despite seeing a lot of the ball. Any other sort of player performances over the last couple of games that you guys want to call out?
Well, I just want a positive one. I just feel like, in all this negativity, there has been some really good performances. As you've mentioned, that Harrison Sona, I think his name is, he's done really, really well. I also think Jayden Munell-Smith has been our most consistent player over the last two seasons. So I think he deserves the plaudits. Apart from that, I mean, Cisse is Cisse. He's very good, but also very erratic. Apart from that, I can't really say of another player who has improved in in 2025.
I thought Jack Cook had a good game last night. He got forward with the ball, and he got the ball out to Giorgio on the left side quite a few times and stuff. I thought he looked fairly comfortable last night.
Keeper made one really good save as well.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, he did, yeah.
He couldn't have done much about the goal either.
Yeah, it was a good save. But I think Boldwine, I think I mean, it wasn't so good last night, but I think he's had some really good games in the last 2 or 3 games as well. Getting forward.
Yeah, I tend to agree. So let me move us away from the players then, and then focus on our new management team. I think one thing I've noticed quite a lot is in 2 games, take it with a pinch of salt, but we commented on now we've got a bit of strength and depth in the squad, and the bench has looked good in both games. But he's only made 4 subs across both of those games, and the most any one player has got is 14 minutes. And I was quite surprised that he didn't move to make changes earlier last night. I appreciate Max's red didn't help. Thomas, maybe I'll start with you. What's been your assessment of Neil Gibson and Lee Jones as well in these first couple of games?
I mean, I've been really impressed with his speaking. Like, he talks a really good game, but Matty Taylor talked a good game, and it needs to show on the pitch and in results before you can sort of make a judgment on that. But it doesn't sound like he's just trying to people please. It does sound like he's actually, talking honestly, which I do appreciate. And with the subs, I found it really frustrating last night because it felt like, with 10 men, it felt like we were crying out for fresh legs, especially in the midfield. We had Eastman and Dyer on the bench, and I thought either one of them could have replaced Grant and, brought a bit of freshness and, maybe given us a chance on the counter to, nick a goal back.
Yeah,
Chris,
I agree.
What's been your views?
I agree. I think, I think Saturday and yesterday we probably had probably the strongest squad we've had all season. Ironically, in the last 2 games, with our bench and as well. But I mean, I give the guy the benefit of the doubt. He's only been with us a week. he's probably only had he had a training session on Tuesday, training session Thursday. He probably wouldn't have trained yesterday. So I guess he's still trying to find the players, but I definitely think he should have been bringing on some fresh legs, as you say, especially down to 10 men. And Eastman set up the first goal on Saturday with his with his ball. So I don't know. Well, I mean, but then I think on Saturday he left Eastman on too long, and then Eastman went down with cramp, I think, or got injured.
Yeah.
So I'd expected him to go off sooner, and brought Kretschmar on sooner. I don't know. But yeah,
Alex.
I think it's far too early to tell. I feel he wouldn't be able to implement what he wants. We have seen changes in the approach, but it's far too early. It's 2 games in. We really should be giving him at least minimum a month, before we start judging him. Because I believe the next 2 games and the 2 previous to yesterday, it's really all on the players. Because it's going to take 4, 5, 6 games for him to start to embed his philosophy into the group. So really, we should be judging it not on Gibson, but more judging it on the players. Because I don't know how. I mean, he ain't no miracle worker. You know, we cannot judge these performances on him. Yes, granted, he should have made changes sooner, but he has a reason as to why he chose not to. And for now, we have to back him.
Do you think that this group of players has an identity? Do you think we play with an identity? It was very obvious under the Maynard era that we played in a certain way. Do you think this team still has identity?
It did. I'd say at the moment it's going through not a crisis, but it's probably going through, you could maybe call it a slight rebuild, and we might change the approach. I definitely know that if he's there next season, which I hope he is, there'll be a clear new philosophy that will be embedded into the group. It's the same with any level of football. As soon as a manager leaves a club and a new manager comes in, he's quite open to say things will change. You know, you can't expect the philosophy just to switch. It's going to take time. And I do think comparing him to Maynard, though he spoke very highly of Maynard, I don't think we are going to see us pass it around the back. It's very clear. He's a lot more quick. He's a lot more direct. Get it into the front men and flood the box. So, do we have an identity yet? Probably not. But
yeah.
You know, it's a change of philosophy.
But he said, didn't he? I think in the post-match interview that the players still learning the patterns that he likes to play. So it's going to take a while. So
That's the concern, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. We haven't got time on our side, but I mean, we've got some experienced players there. We should have enough quality for them to pick up
absolutely
things fairly quickly.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to just pause us there, looking back at those 2 games, and now we'll take a little bit of a glance forward because we have our 3rd game in a week. At home coming up this Saturday as Gateshead, the Heed, come to visit us. And I'm going to invite to come and join us now Mickey from the Heed Army. Mickey, how are you, sir?
Not too bad. Good evening, lads. How are you doing?
Evening.
Very well.
Thank you. What happened last night?
What happened last night? We struggled to string 2 passes together. We allowed Tamworth to get on the front foot. We then started the second half well, knocked on the door. Then Max Kretschmar got 2 yellows in 5 minutes and got sent off after 65 minutes. We played the last 25 minutes with 10 men and we got sucker punched.
Tamworth done exactly the same to us at their place. They're a horrible team to play against, aren't they?
Yeah, that's what you were sort of alluding to, Alex. I won't mention the words that you used, but
they're absolute shithouses.
Yeah,
with a capital S.
I have to I mean, I kind of respect it to an extent, but when you're watching them, you do want to they do make you mad. And some of the stories that I've heard since about what they've done at half time in the change rooms and things like that, you know, makes me want to go there in a month or two's time and really beat them 3-0. I'll probably eat
Come on,
my
share it. Share.
Sorry?
Don't keep it to yourself. Tell the audience.
Come on then, come on, share what you heard at happened at halftime.
So what I've heard is that when we were trying to do our team talk at half time, they were purposely playing their music really, really loud. I mean, obnoxiously loud, to the point where the players couldn't hear what Gibson, our manager, was saying. Additionally, when they were leaving to go out onto the pitch, they kept banging the walls to try and intimidate us as if it would. But I mean, that's what I've heard. I mean, it could all be a load of bollocks. But what I also saw on the pitch, it was just a master of the dark arts there. Every time they were touched, they were on the floor. They were really, secret, tugs on the shirt, stuff like that. I mean, we probably would do the same, but they were masters of it.
It was
for older viewers, it sounds like the old John Bett Cambridge United type tactics.
I'm glad someone's more my age.
So, Mickey, let's look to your visit Saturday. And you come to the Vale 5th in the league. I think Oldham went above you with their win last night. But you haven't won in 2024 so far. I think, if I recall, you've lost a few players to Carlisle, who then sacked your former manager. How's your season been?
It started off really well, but as every transfer window at Gateshead Football Club, we all start shouting ourselves. As soon as it gets within a week of the transfer window, we're thinking, which one's going? The first one to go out was a Senny, top scorer. He went to St Mirren, and that was on my birthday. And you talk about ruining my birthday, and he'll get told when I see him the next day. Then that was the 30th of December. Then on New Year's Eve, we heard there was 2 more going. And I've written a list down while I was listening to you before. In the last 2 seasons, we've had 13 footballers leave this football club, albeit either permanently or on loan, who went on to be regulars in the first team from Championship all the way to League 2.
Wow.
13 players. We've got 9 injured at the minute, 3 out for a season, and 6 for 6 to 8 weeks.
Wow.
When we played Halifax a few weeks back, we had 2 players from the starting 11 on the first day of the season.
Wow.
So the drop-off has come because of what has happened. And Mike Williamson losing his job at Carlisle, there's not a Gateshead fan in the world who isn't delighted about that. We just want Rob Elliott away from Crawley now. And then we'll probably have less chance of losing any more players in the summer.
I was going to say, because you mentioned about the players that have moved on, but a little bit like us, you've lost managers to higher levels. Williamson went to MK Dons originally, right? When Rob Elliott went to Crawley. He said, remind me, who's in charge now? I didn't know this.
Carl Magnier. He was part of the coaching setup that all went to Milton Keynes with Mike Williamson.
Yeah.
And they went all up to Carlisle, and obviously Rob went to Crawley. So we, as if you know, we played to a certain style of play.
Yeah.
Rob took it on from Mike when Mike Williamson made it better. And we were looking for someone who'd been in that. So that's why we went to get Carl Magnier. We pulled Carl Magnier from Carlisle. And he's brought Liam Bridcut in, he's ex-Brighton player. He's his assistant. And we brought a few players in, and we brought 2 in today. We're hoping for 1 more before Saturday. So we're clinging on by our fingernails into the playoffs at the minute. But to lose, we lost in 11 months. We lost 2 managers and 7 backroom staff. We had no backroom staff when Rob Elliott went to Crawley. We had none who had the right coaching badges. We had to get a former player, Ben Clark, to come on the bench, because he was the only one allowed on the touchline with the relevant coaching qualifications. So you can understand why we've had such a drop.
But it's obviously been a very turbulent sort of 12 months. Aside from the comings and goings, you were denied playing in the playoffs. You won the FA Trophy. It's been quite the time, right, to be a Gateshead fan?
It's the FA Trophy. It's been a competition I've been after since we got knocked out in the 90s at Wickham. Martin O'Neill was in charge of Wickham then. So we got knocked out in the 93rd minute, and I've been bitter ever since then. It took 35 years to get over that bitterness.
Yeah,
I mean, the playoffs, wow, it was just red tape after red tape with the local council.
It's been resolved now, though, right?
Everything's sorted. Yeah, because we were thinking, if you can't get this sorted, what's the point of any players being here next year if you can't get promotion?
Yeah.
But I mean, look, Hughes are on the same boat. Our class Wellstone is the Gateshead of the South.
Yeah.
Because they took Maynard, they took Matty Taylor. I know Matty Taylor wasn't as popular as Maynard, and you've had players go as well. And I can see similarities with Wellstone and Gateshead at the minute.
Yeah, I actually was just reflecting, because I think I came onto your podcast when we came up last season, and I was watching Notts County versus Carlisle on BT Sport, or wherever it was, I think the week before last, which was Maynard against Williamson, as it was in that game, the midweek game, the 2-1. And it was a tremendous advert for non-league football. Two teams playing in such a good way. I don't know whether you boys, Alex, I think you were definitely there, weren't you? We came out on the wrong end of it, having gone 1-0 up after about 70 odd minutes, and was it Conor McBride scored twice late on? But it was a brilliant game of football. Are you expecting kind of similar Saturday? What you coming?
It depends on your pitch, really. I mean, we're always going to play football. We're always look. When we get corners, lads, don't panic, because we're absolutely shite at them. We've only scored one in the whole season, so if we get a corner, you're safe. Don't panic. But I think it'll be a good footballing game, because we haven't played for a fortnight, so I think we'll be a little bit ring rusty. Yeah, you might. I mean, you've only had one defeat in 6, isn't it?
You could put it that way, but we've also had one win in 12.
Yeah, but you're normally quite strong at home.
We are, yeah. To be fair, that was our first home defeat last night since October.
Yeah, so
so
it might work. It could work both ways. The rest could have done us it will do us the world of good, because if we had played you the week after, we had an 18.
Yeah.
And it should be a good game, but it'd be interesting to see if the rest done us the world of good, or you playing regular football is better for you.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. You mentioned the pitch as well, because our pitch, which is traditionally quite good, and we've obviously had problems with when it's wet. We sorted the drainage out in the summer, but the rest of the pitch seems to hold water, and the pitch is not great at the moment. Not helped by Watford ladies playing on it last Sunday when it was about 4 inches underwater. So yeah, the pitch ain't great. I was at the ground today actually, and the guys were working on it, and it looks a bit better. And hopefully, with a couple of days of good weather, it will help. But yeah, it's not going to be to the standard that you maybe you've seen it in the last couple of years.
Well, hopefully Neil Gibson just finding his feet. That would be very nice of you, lads.
We are desperate. I mean, look,
I know you are.
We've won 5 games all season, and ultimately, look, that's why we are in the position we are in. We'll come on to talk about what's coming up after Gateshead, which is a very presentable set of fixtures. But let me ask you boys to now your colours to the mast and give us your predictions for Saturday. Mickey, come on, you give us yours to start with.
Oh, me? It's always me that's got to go first. You know what it is, lads? I'm one of these. I'll always take a point away from home. So I'll go 1 each.
Fair. Tomas?
I think the struggle's probably going to continue and be 2-0 Gateshead.
Oh,
Oh,
Glass
Thomas,
half
bloody hell. Never gone against your team, mate.
Not convinced at the moment with how we're playing.
Chris, go on.
Well, I've since Mickey's been talking, I've swung the other way. Actually, I had us down as a defeat, but now after what he said, I'm going to go 2-1 to
Well done.
Wealdstone.
Good lad. Good lad. Alex?
Forever the pessimist, I'm going to go a 1-0 win for Wealdstone.
Oh, good
I
lad.
think,
Good
yeah, I agree with Chris. Listening to what Mickey said, it's kind of giving it a bit of balance. And Gibson needs a win. He needs a win, and
Yeah.
he needs a win quick. So I think this is
Sometimes,
a game to set.
Sorry. sometimes when the manager comes in, you'll have a couple of games, and then the lads will sort of get used to what he wants to do. And I think the way things are going for us off with the injury wise, I think this could be a good time to catch us,
The trouble
especially
is,
as we haven't played for a fortnight.
Mickey, he only joined us. I think he had his first training session last Tuesday. And
Right.
then he would have had a night session on Thursday. They would have had a session yesterday morning, Monday morning. I'm not sure what sort of session they'd have had Tuesday because obviously we had the match, and then he's got another session Thursday night. So we know we're not full-time trainers, so that could go in your favour as well. But I'll stick with my 2-1. But I think it's going to be it will be a good game of football. You guys play some nice football, so I think it's going to be a good game of football to watch.
Well, if we are going long, we are struggling because we are absolutely hopeless at going long. We always have been. And like I said, don't worry on corners. You're fine on corner, lads.
Well, we were saying a bit earlier on that we've been undone by some dead balls, so hopefully we can relax on that on Saturday then.
Oh, you're quite safe on that. And mate, free kicks outside the box, Regan, booty, someone like that. Free kicks maybe there, but for some strange reason, corners were absolutely woeful.
I was going to just ask about the squad because obviously you lost Callum Whelan to Carlisle, right? Who's a really good player. How's Greg Ollie recovering? Because he had a really serious injury early in the season, right?
Last I heard, he's got to get the pins out of the broken tib and fib. He's hoping to be back before the end of the season. I can't see it personally. And I know his mum and dad were waiting to see Dion Kelly Evans when we played more Woking, but he never come up, which is just as well because I didn't think he would have got out the way Greg Ollie's mum was.
Yeah, it was a shocking injury, shocking challenge. And just in, like I say, so many comings and goings, I'm actually not that familiar. I know Luke Hannon's always a danger, but who can we expect from your squad to make some inroads into us on Saturday?
Obviously, Luke Hannon, he can be a little bit of a shit house as well, to be honest. Can be. We're intrigued with St. Louis Flower from Brighton's Academy, and he's starting to find his feet. He hasn't scored yet, but he's starting to find his feet. And we're just saying Liam Humbles is a tidy footballer, and Regan Booty.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what comes of the new signings, Horton and Rolls. I think Rolls was on loan at Woking a couple of seasons back.
Jack Rolls.
So you might know him better than I do. So
yeah, I think he was at Spurs. He came out of Spurs Academy. If it's the player I'm thinking of, Jack Rolls, and I think he was at Crawley.
Rolls, yeah.
I'm just
loaned him today.
You mentioned about the lad from Brighton's Academy. I mean, aside from that's a hell of a trip up for him. But I'm just looking to see whether, because we played Brighton's Academy in the National League Cup, and I was just looking to see if he played against us, but struggling to find their team. But
I'll tell you what it is. We get a lot of Southern lads come up to play for us, and all complain about the cold. I'm sure they think they cross the equator when you come past Watford Cap.
Very good, very good. Mickey, are you going to be at the Vale on Saturday? Are you coming down?
Unfortunately, I can't be. I would love to. I would love to be there. Because I would like to catch up with Martin Lacey as well. But unfortunately, I can't get. So, but if you like your gated stuff, where's the bar fans? I write the articles in there for the Gateshead thing. So I think the next one's Joe in February. So keep a look out for that, because I've written quite a 4-page article, roughly it was, by the time I finished.
Brilliant. Mickey, thank you
So-
so much for coming on and talking to us. It's been a pleasure to have you. Like I say, we won't see you Saturday, but let's hope may the best team win as it is, and we'll speak to you soon.
May the best team win, as long as it's us. And honest lads, I'm not blowing smoke up your arse. I wish you the best for the season. I hope you stay up in the very best years out. I'll take
Cheers,
care,
Mickey.
lads.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Cheers,
Take
mate.
care.
Speak soon.
All the best.
So that's Gateshead. We'll worry about what comes after that on the next cast. But actually, I want to now just have a little bit of a look and ask that question: how are we going to stay up? We've got 18 games, I think it is, left. What I wanted to do was just pop up, first of all, the league table, because it makes for some rather disturbing reading. That should come up. I mean, look, I got the impression as everyone came out yesterday, and look, there's always a load of emotion with stuff as straight after a game. But it felt like a lot of people threw the towel in last night and decided we were down. But I can see the situation of what it is. We're still one win away from being out of the relegation zone and clawing Aldershot and Braintree back in. We've got a game in hand unfiled. Let me ask the question just around the table. Does anyone actually think we're down? Does anyone think it's done? But we've got no chance, first of all. Does anyone share that view?
I'll go on, Chris.
No, I was going to say, I must be. I'm normally, I wouldn't say I'm Mr. Positive, but I normally like to see the positive side. But I must admit, I agree. When I left yesterday, I thought, we're running out of chances. Really, we've only got one game in hand, and I know that's against Boston, but Boston have got 2 games in hand, and if they win both of those games, one of them which is against us, that puts them a point behind us, I think. I mean, obviously I don't want the Stones to go down, and I want us to stay up, but I think we're almost running out of time. I know it's a bit early in the season to say that, but but I mean, we're struggling.
Just going to pop up on if I can work out how to do it. Window, there we go. Let's pop that one up. So my infamous maybe stats sheet. I love my stats. This is where all the magic happens. Yeah, all this stuff here. I've lost where I was. So that's the league table, but it also shows who, if you look here, who we've played and who we've got to play. And I think when I look, this is the top 10. If you look at our record against the top 10, we picked up, I think it's 0.69 points per game. And against teams outside the top 10, that number is, I just need to add it in for Tamworth, but that goes across to 1.13. It was a bit higher than that yesterday. So sounds obvious, but we're picking up better results against the lesser teams. And when you look, we've still got Eastleigh, Woking, Aldershot, and the bottom 3 to come to the Vale. So I think there's a very obvious some points that we're going to get here. We've still got, I think, 6 or 7 games against teams outside the top 10 away from home. Of course, we've got that run of fixtures as we go into kind of Easter time that is Forest Green, Barnet, and York. But let me kind of just ask you boys, okay, we don't think it's done and dusted yet. Clearly, it's not. We've got a run of games coming up after Gateshead on Saturday that is almost exclusively that bottom 6. What is the minimum points total that you guys are expecting from that, Thomas? Maybe let me start with you.
I mean, you've got so many poor teams to play at home. I don't see how you can say we're down at this point, but if you look at Braintree, they've won 3 on the trot, and suddenly it feels like they're miles away when before they were really right in there. You just put a few games together, which we're more than capable of. We've shown we've got quality on our day to beat most of the teams, especially those in and around us. So if we can just play a full 90 minutes, not have all these silly mistakes, we can easily go on a run of 3 wins and drag ourselves out of it. But it's whether we actually go and do it is the thing.
Alex, do you think this team can put a run of wins together?
It can, most definitely. What does worry me, though, is the fact that in previous years we've won our so-called mini-league. And when you think about it, we've bottled a 2-goal lead to Ebbsfleet. We have lost to Fylde and we've lost to Maidenhead.
Mm-hmm.
And
all of those away from home, though.
Correct. But if there are away games you're going to win, it's going to be those ones. Or it should be those ones. I'm just worried about if we can't leave our National League survival on 3 games, those 3 really supposedly easy home games, because what happens if you slip up? What happens if a game like yesterday takes place? Every game from now until the end of the season, I'm saying like Owen, is that, it's every game's worth 3 points. So a win against Ebbsfleet at home is worth the same as winning away at York. So we must go into every game fighting for those 3 points. I can understand why the fans are worried about it, because it is a pattern. We're seeing patterns emerge in our play and in our results. That's what's worrying. It's that, I think Leo said it best. He said he thinks it's down to a lack of fitness. I can see why, because I think we've let in. I think we've lost 8. If it's either 8 or 10, maybe even 12 points, we've dropped in extra time this season alone. Which is insane.
We have lost 17 points from winning positions this year.
Wow.
And similarly, we have conceded 11 goals in the final 15 minutes of games this season, which is interesting because we've never been a team, certainly under Maynard, that lacked fitness, seemingly.
But then that was because, can I quickly say, Maynard and especially Saunders used to say they used to keep the ball on purpose to save fitness. That was the whole remit. And I think with Taylor, rightly or wrongly, he hasn't really. He strayed from that, and maybe it's a decision where we might look back on and we might think that's what cost us this season, because you concede so many goals late, and you just reeled off these stats, right? Listen to those stats. Does that sound like a team that deserves to stay up? And it's the 5th of February. It's the 5th of February, and we've lost 17 points from winning positions.
Yeah.
I mean, that's is that a team that? And I'm not sure yet.
So Chris, like I said, we got obviously Gateshead who are 5th in the table on Saturday, but from what Mickey was saying, it may not be a bad time to play them.
Yeah.
And then after that, we have this run of games from the following Saturday, the 15th of Feb up to the 4th of March, where we play Yeovil away, currently 14th, Braintree away 18th, Ebbsfleet home 24th, Boston home 23rd, Aldershot, that's now been cancelled actually because of their FA Trophy game, and then the trip to Tamworth who are 15th. So maybe the Aldershot game's now moved out, but 5-6 games, up until the end of March. Chris, what points total do we need from that run of games?
Well, what we need and what I think we're going to get, I think, is 2 different things. I'm a bit more confident about Gateshead now. Yeovil, I think that'll be a defeat. Braintree, as Thomas said, they're on a bit of a run.
Don't lose.
Yeah, I'll get a point there. Ebbsfleet hopefully will win. Boston home, we haven't won. Ebbsfleet haven't won away yet, so that's one for us.
Yeah.
Tamworth away, well, I think they're just going to do what they did to us last night again. So yeah, I don't know what 8 points or so, I think, but I'm not sure. I go back. I don't. From watching the games that I have, I've been watching a lot of the season from a distance, unfortunately. But a lot of the goals that we've conceded, I wouldn't put it down to fitness. I think it's just lack of concentration. I think, look at the Hartlepool one. I mean, no one charged down the keeper, and he puts a long ball in, and balls in the net. Ebbsfleet, similar thing, really. I think it's there's definitely a lack of confidence. There's a lack of confidence from the fans,
Yeah.
towards the players, I think.
There was that period around, I think it was around the Rochdale game where we beat Rochdale, where I felt like we had real confidence, a real momentum behind us. We need to get back to that, because that version of Wealdstone is capable of going on a bit of a run and picking up some points on the board. At the moment, I think confidence is low. The pitch ain't helping. You know, we just need a little bit of luck on our side. We'll do this run of games to death, I'm sure, in future casts. But I'm going to start drawing us to a close. First of all, chaps, I'm going to ask if there's anything that you guys want to bring to the table. In particular, Mr. Kilroy, you usually have something.
Well,
you don't have to.
No, I don't. I just feel like I think the next run of games are so important, but I also feel like we have to be quite realistic and level-headed. I agree with Chris. I think 8 to 9 points, and just see what the other teams around us are doing. I think it's as much on us as it is on the other teams, because I do think Braintree will get dragged in. I feel like if we do perform well, we'll be having a very different conversation in maybe a month's time. You know, so we've got to take it game by game and not predict, because, you know, at this level of football, anyone could beat anyone.
Yeah. I mean, my view is if we are having that conversation in a month's time and things haven't bucked up, you're then having to go to Rochdale, Altrincham, York, and start getting results. And so I'd be really concerned if we, you know, that Boston doubleheader, that's got to be 6 points, simple as. But, you know, one game at a time, let's focus on trying to get something out of Gateshead this Saturday. Just a couple of little AOB things just to share. I've been asked by Dave Reader, the coach leader, to just remind or inform everyone that we do have a coach running to Yeovil. It leaves the club, I think, at 9 a.m. You can book through the usual channels, which I think is generally going through the Supporters Club website, or speak to Dave at a game. It's 25 quid per head, an absolute bargain, because Yeovil's in the arse end of nowhere. So a very, very useful thing. And just a random one, if you haven't already seen what I shared on Twitter earlier, I was down the club this afternoon with a YouTuber called Stunt Peg. I don't know if any of you guys know her. She's got 420,000 followers. That was me and her earlier. She's brilliant. She was at the ground with me for an hour and a half. She took a real interest. She knew her stuff. And she's going to be putting out a video about the history of Wealdstone probably next week. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I think we've covered pretty much everything, chaps. So let me thank you all for coming and joining. So hopefully see you Saturday. You won't see me because I'm going to be sunning myself in the Canary Islands, but I'll be watching on the stream. Whoever's doing the comms. But Thomas, Alex, Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Up the Stones.
Up Stones.
Stones.
The Stones.